Welcome back everybody to Waffles RC. As you saw from the thumbnail that you just clicked on, we are going to be going over everything that I have built in 2025. The reason why I'm doing this is, well, it's almost the end of 2025 and things are a bit of a mess here. We're moving some stuff around here in the garage, so it's taken a bit of time, and I've been waiting for parts for our Zachlift build. And I am quite excited about the parts that I have acquired for this and the company that makes these parts, and you guys will be too. So sit back, relax, and enjoy everything that we have built in the last year. Okay, let's lead this whole video off with the completion of the Zachlift, my most complicated build and personally my favorite one. As you can see, it has a functional boom and a functional wheel lift. Very easily capable of picking up any RC and other things that I have found. Everything is movable and drivable. And of course, we just have to show off for the camera that it actually can tow stuff. It's funny seeing it like this without all the stickers that it has on it now. Yes, the trailer, before I painted it, when I was procrastinating painting that thing at all. It only took me like 2 months to actually get down to painting it. So the Zachlift does have its own remote, so everything is completely separate from the truck. Had issues putting the mud truck down onto the trailer, but we figured it out with a little bit of editing. Then once again with some editing, just like the real Zachlift, this one, even in RC form, is completely detachable. And that's why I did its own controller, battery, everything, so that way I could still use the truck for something else, once again, exactly like the real Zachlift. So just like the real Zachlift, once again, we are able to detach, back up, and start towing up on the trailer. Needs little assistance because the trailer is unpowered. Locking it in, make sure. And then we go for a little cruise with a 6-foot long trailer. One thing I do regret about building this trailer like this is having the wheels all the way at the back. It makes it a bit challenging to drive it, especially while backing up, but we make it work. And by making it work, I mean we just drive in the grass because, well, what's it gonna hurt? See, everything is perfectly fine. We just scrape a little bit and move on with our day. Now once again, this is probably one of my most favorite builds just because of the complexity and the look of it, the size of it. It was a really fun build, so if you guys want, go and check the videos out. There's a lot of videos on this whole build. So this was actually quite a fun build for me, just to see the comparison of what a stock RC could do versus what additions you can do to it to make it better. So we started off just by giving it a test, seeing how it does as it is right out of the box. Now you guys all know that I'm not one for RTRs, I like to build them myself, but like I said, this was an interesting experiment to see what all the additional parts actually do for it. And there we go. So we started off by just adding some wheels and tires, nothing super crazy, getting rid of the plastic wheels right there. So that way we had better grip, a little more weight. Then we added some new coilovers. Then we went and added new axles and tested it once everything was completed. I did struggle a little bit just because these axles were not made for this particular vehicle, but you know, just like Waffles RC fashion, we made it work. So in the videos that I made for this thing, we actually did test it after each time we added one new part. We didn't just add everything and then saw where it went. I wanted to see what did good and what did bad. So in the video, you can go back and take a look and see what each thing actually did to help this thing get up the impossible steps, which is not very realistic in any way, but that is my challenge I have for all of my RCs. Comp crawler. So we started off with the Black Sheep chassis. This whole build was to try and build a comp vehicle using affordable parts. Definitely go check out Black Sheep chassis. They have very affordable frames. So we started off with some axles, front and rear, with all the shocks, skid plate, transmission, everything you need. Then we put it all together, made sure that, you know, it worked. We got a very cheap motor. I think it was like 40 bucks. Some pretty good wheels and tires with some brass weights. Put it all together and put a very strange body on it because, well, I'm me and I like station wagons. So of course we had to put it up on the staircase tester, make sure that it could make it up the steps. Now since it is a comp crawler, it is quite slow. But that's what you want in a comp crawler, is for it to be slow, so it has very precise everything, honestly. And the guys at Black Sheep Chassis, they helped me out with telling me which parts to buy to make it all work perfectly with this particular vehicle. And to keep it all affordable. I think this thing is, at the time when I made it, it was about $500 total. It's got overdrive gears in the front, and as you can see, it is very precise. And it can take a beating too. That's the nice part about it. So once we knew that it could do the Staircase of Doom, we took it into, you know, actual rocks. And I will admit, it did struggle a little bit just because the tires were brand new, so they needed some time to scrub in, but genuinely impressed by this little thing. It does really well, and I love the body. The whole point of this video was to show that you can build an affordable comp crawler, and once again, you can put any body on these RCs that you want. You just have to be willing to cut. So, like I said, it did struggle a little bit just because the tires were new. I was new to it, but the articulation this thing has is incredible. Didn't think it could do that on such short shocks, but you know, you get surprised every time you try something new. Wait for it, watch the droop on the rear axle. It's just absolutely crazy. Look at that. Here was a really fun build. That's right. We are making a trophy car. This was when I was ambitious and thought that I could attempt for the second time to make an IFS system with a solid rear axle. I did genuinely try my hardest, as you can see. Thought it was working out really well, But then I gave up and did the IFS2 kit because I couldn't figure out the steering. So made my frame, got it all together with some trailing arms. So after getting the suspension figured out, we started with the roll cage. Obviously, main hoop, kinda need that. Got the transmission in there, making sure there's room for a motor. Now we were figuring out the shocks because I wanted to run what looked like bypass, and it all worked. It does go into the backseat of the car. This was my first time also working with a 3D printed body, which made it a little more challenging. Here's the whole cage. Then we started working on the fronts. Now, importantly, we needed a sway bar. So I put a sway bar on it. Here's it turning on for the very first time, making sure everything works, and then playing with it. Yes, I know it's repetitive, but it was really funny editing this. Then we go to my fancy paint booth, as you guys know very well. We're a real high-class operation here. Finished off the paint. I think it turned out incredible. I think it looks really good, even still to this day. But then we drove it for the very first time with our fancy body, and yeah, it broke. But you know what? The thing has held up great ever since then. The new mud truck started off with a Sen Racing Sicario body that a kind person donated. Made our own frame for it. Tried to explain to everybody how to make it and get it to, you know, look correct. Because scale points, that's what we go for. Got the frame inside of the body, got the body mounted to it. Then we started planning out the drop cage. Basically, it's there for holding the suspension and the axles much further down than normal. So as you can see, we started off the drop cage, just got the lower arms close to it of where I thought would look good. Then we added all our tabs, some cages, just to make it look good, make it look cool. That was the main thing. Here's everything all put together with our 130mm shocks, and then dualies, because every mud truck needs to be a dually. Well, at least this one needed to be because the body is a dually bed. So we finished off the cage, got our transfer case in there, starting to come together and look really good. And then we had to find a spot for the motor. Just tried to keep it very simple, just a couple of tabs right there. Got our drive shafts going, did some inner fender wells just to keep the mud out when it goes into the mud. More protective covers. Then I learned from the last one that it needed sway bars because the original mud truck does not have sway bars, and that has been its biggest downfall. Then I tried this whole hitch idea, which worked out really well. The truck itself can't really tow. So there's all the protective covering, got to make a tunnel to cover that drive shaft to protect our electronics. And here was the first drive. Not super fast, but I had it turned down quite a bit. Didn't want to overpower everything. Then we did our pink paint job because it's my RC and that's what I can do. You guys can do the same thing with yours. I think the final product of this thing came out absolutely awesome. There's my fancy W that I put in there just for aesthetic reasons. This was a really fun build. Now this trip was a lot of fun for me. We got to take the Zachlift into Vegas, and you don't know fun until you're driving a 50-pound RC through a Las Vegas casino hotel with everybody staring at it. It's quite a sight to behold. But this was a lot of fun because I got to go into the Zachlift booth with the Zachlift at the Towman show. But of course I had to play around just a little bit because I'm a child and I brought a toy to a giant tow truck expo. Still, one of the highlights of my YouTube career so far was being able to take this little truck to the Zachlift booth. When I go next year, I'm going to get much more video and try to have a little bit more fun with it. As you can see, it's just cruising around all the big tow trucks. Also, decided that I needed to take some stuff because, well, it wasn't mine and I had a little tow truck, so I'm going to take some little stuff, like these wheel dollies. They're mine now. It truly was an honor to be able to take this into the Zachlift booth to show off their products and just have fun with everybody from Zachlift. Being a small YouTube channel and having that opportunity was a lot of fun, as you can see by stealing some of Zachlift stuff too. So this was an interesting build, to say the least, because, well, I tried to make a RC boat out of, you guessed it, steel. And trying to make steel float, kind of hard. But we made all the sides for our cabin after getting it to float a little bit. Showing off some of the windows for, you know, scale points, as per usual. Then we just quickly weld together 4 sides to make a little cabin, basically. Completely hollow, trying to keep it lightweight. Got everything set up together. Put a roof on it because, well, you need a roof and a floppy one, but that's why I added those bars right there. Just need to add them to the front. Then we float it one more time in the bathtub just to see, will it float? And it does, mostly. So we got the motor on it. And I think we're working on painting. That little motor does work. Added those bars in finally, so now that doesn't move. And then added some handrails because, well, scale points as per usual. Then we spent a long time welding because, you know, needs to be somewhat waterproof. Then we had to move out into the pool because my wife kicked me out of the bathtub apparently for rusting it. But it floats and it drives. Kind of astonishing that I was even able to get a 15-pound chunk of steel to float and to drive. Granted, it's just in a kiddie pool. Then more scale points by adding some furniture. Found these couches on Amazon. They're for a dollhouse, but hey, they work on an RC boat as well. Then to top it all off, we added ourselves a little barbecue. I think we win all the scale points with this. Then we start working on a trailer for it because, well, you need a trailer to tow a boat. There's our main frame, very simple, tri-axle, just because I wanted to. There's the stands for the pontoons to sit on. And there is the completed trailer with functional-ish suspension. And once everything was all together, got it all painted and towed it with the mud truck, which the mud truck did not like it because it was too fast. And then the Gambler 500. This was not a whole lot of RCing, but it was a whole lot of fun. We got the van doing stuff that vans should not do. That van is still running to this day, by the way. Still in perfect condition and gets used quite often. But we did bring the X-Max with us because, well, needed to have some type of RC content in this video. It was very, very dusty, as you can tell. We also had the Gambler Mercedes with us that I totally forgot that I had with me at all until like the last couple of hours. Now this next part is just absolutely crazy that it happened, so I'll let you guys enjoy everything about it.
I don't even know how many dozens of feet that's across. It's like That's at least 50 to 60 feet across, at least. Oh my gosh. That's... Thank God we're not right there.
Thank God we're not camping here.
Uh-huh.
That'd be horrible.
Don't say that. Might start coming towards us.
I think it's going.
It is actually. There goes a canopy.
There goes a couple of them.
Another one. There goes the canopy a lot. Oh my God. Oh,
Oh, that's coming this way. Close it, Tom.
Yeah, an absolutely crazy sight to see in person. And I wish I would have had the camera sideways, but even with that, we still had a ton of fun. Yeah, the motorhome build. This was a really fun, intricate build to do. So obviously made a motorhome body for an RC four-wheel drive cab. Tried to keep it lightweight, quote unquote, by just using tube steel because I'm going to cover it with sheet metal. And I was quite impressed with the RC four-wheel drive body. I've never had one before, so it was impressive to see it. Then my standard axles that I normally use. And of course, made my own frame. Made it in the same style that I make all my other frames. Then I had to make some standoffs to be able to bolt the body to the frame because it's a hard body. Then started mocking up for suspension. We got the rear axle right here. Then we got the front axle in with some big old long coilovers because I have to run 120s on everything that I build. Got a different forward mount transmission. Thought I would try it on this build. It actually works really well. Got my preferred transfer case. And then all the drive shafts. But don't worry, there's another one there with a carrier bearing because I didn't want to run a drive shaft that was, a foot long. Then we started making slides. That was the intricate part of this build. Had a lot of fun getting these to work. And got them in the frame, just made whatever I could that I thought would work, and it looks kind of funky right here, but once I get all the sheet metal on it, it actually works really well. Use the hydraulic actuators or whatever you want to call them that I normally use. And this was the first test, getting the slide to move in and out, which is always nerve-wracking when you're first trying something, but both of the slides worked really well. I was happy with how they turned out. Then we put the sheet metal on them just to make sure that they work. And they walk a little bit, but they're a lot of fun. Then took the easy way of making side panels for it by just tracing. It was the easiest way that I could think of. Use the round tube as, the edges to make the corners round. Then we got it all together, all the sides welded on. There was a lot of welding on this thing, but it all turned out really, really nicely. Then added an air conditioner. As always, scale points are a necessity. Then added some fun stuff like a motorcycle that goes on the back. And trying to get it to clear was kind of fun. Also added a door, because RV needs a door, and that's where I put the battery. And then there was the attempt at bodywork. Not for the faint of heart, just so everybody knows. I failed quite miserably, but you know, the only way that you learn is to fail. So now we move on to the electronics and just trying to get everything to work. Got the cab all put together with all the lights and the bumper and the grille, and then everything was done, put together and painted, and luckily paint hides most sins when it comes to sheet metal work. At that time, the motorcycle had to be moved manually, which I discovered after the event. I found an easier way. But we have the slides that go in and out with little fake windows. It's all just vinyl stickers. Speaking of vinyl, here was the topper for it. The last sticker to put on there to make it look really good. Then we took it to Toyota Fest, where I found a big version. Then of course, we towed the boat around because you gotta have every accessory when it comes to camping. Welcome to America. This is how we camp. Then me and the wifey won some trophies. She got first place in Best Custom, and we got Best in Show for the Motorhome. Ah yes, this build. Yeah, I had fun making it, not so much fun driving it, but it was fun making a full tube chassis for a Lexan body. Got the main cage all set up for the cab at least, and that's what I would build everything off of from there. Got the rear. Come to find out, that was not structurally strong enough for what I had planned and what I did with this thing. Then we did the overly complicated rear suspension, but needed something. Then I tried my hand at cantilever suspension for the rear. The rear actually works really, really well. I was quite happy with how it came out. It took a while to figure that out. Then I started to try and figure out the front, because got that mounted, but didn't have a lot of space, so this is what I came up with. It works quite well, honestly. One of the few things that actually work really well on that truck. Then we got the wheels on, the whole chassis was rolling. Those are not the wheels that I finally went with, those were too small. Then using a tried and true transmission, a different ESC, and motor combo. Got to keep trying new stuff. That's how all these builds, for me at least, are, is I need to try new stuff. Made a battery box in the bed, then put some fans on there that weren't centered with the cab of the truck. Then we did our first initial drive. This is where hopes were high until reality hit. So it seems like it's fine. I did have some programming issues. Then we go into our next paint booth. I love the color of this truck, honestly. I can't get over how much I like the color of that truck. I just wish I wouldn't have crashed it so much. I mean, look how good that turned out. Then here's me pretending like I know what I'm doing on programming a castle system. Right before we started doing what this truck seems to like to do, and that is crash. Yep, there's another crash. Then we'd go back, we'd fix it, find everything that I broke, and then go back out and immediately crash it. then really crash it. I mean, really crash it. Right into the back of my car. Then we crash it again. There was a lot of crashing with this vehicle, I have to say that, but we finally got it all dialed in, and I had a goal set for it, which we did wind up meeting. It just took a long time to get there, and yes, it's not fast for RCs. I know there's a lot of RCs that can go a lot faster than this, but I was proud that I got mine to go that fast. So I know 30.5 miles an hour isn't very fast for an RC, but remember, this thing was built using all very, very cheap Amazon parts, and it's solid axle front and rear, not IFS. So that was the true challenge of this entire build. And the build that I struggled the most with, the 24 scale build. Luckily, all this was sent to me by Bill. I had to buy some parts and put it all together for the first time ever, which was interesting to say the least. But we got it all together. It was for a very good cause. It went to a local veteran. She's very happy with it, and that is all that matters. Also, what matters is trying to struggle to see anything. This was my first attempt at trying to see, which was hilarious. And well, it worked. So we started putting stuff together, struggled a bit, but got the whole frame put together. Then had to get some more parts because stuff didn't match, and I wanted to put some more upgrades on it, so we got a whole mess of parts. And to be able to install these parts, I found these. Hilariously, they worked, but you had to be that close to it. It was funny, that's all that mattered. Then finding all the stuff that I got may have been a bit large for a 24 scale build, but hey, you live, you learn. Put a really cool body on it, really like the color. Then had to do some of my own stuff to it by shortening it with a gigantic cutoff wheel. But we got the body on there. Came together really nicely. I was quite surprised. And then the driving aspect. My rocks are not designed for 24 scale, but you know what? We tried. We did our best. And it just didn't really like my rocks. I kind of like to do this a lot. Like get stuck, flop over. But at the end of the day, I did find the easiest way to get a 24 scale through my rocks, and that was to put it on a 10 scale. I was honestly surprised that it even stayed in the bed because it's not strapped down or anything, it's just sitting in there. But like I said, it went to a good home. She's very happy with it. I've only had to fix it once, but that will be my last 24 scale build that I will ever do. Before you say anything, Alex, Dub, or RC Granny, Emily is building the other one, not me. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that video. It was nice getting to look back on everything that I made. It's quite surprising how far everything has come. And what's even funnier is that we started this year working on the Zachlift, and we're starting next year working on the Zachlift. I do see the irony in it, and I think it's awesome. So now if you've stayed this long, that means you're really dedicated to this channel, and I truly, truly appreciate anyone who watches any of these videos, honestly. But for those who stay, here's a sneak peek at a part for the new Zachlift. Hopefully I'll be getting to work on the Zachlift this weekend, but it's a really nice part. So you remember we're doing a rotator. That's right. We'll see you next week when I go over where I've found and where I'm getting a bunch of parts for complicated builds. If you guys want to know where I'm getting these parts, tune in next week. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you all have great holidays and a happy new year. Be safe. We'll see you next week.